In this morning's London comment, Lance Price looks at a landmark decision by the European Court of Human Rights, which reinforced an individual's right to wear a religious symbol at work.
My favourite aunt died recently. She was a lovely lady, a no-nonsense Navy wife who just got on with life and always with a smile on her face. I didn't see her that often, and to be honest, we rarely had any very serious conversations that I can remember. So I'm ashamed to say I learned a few things about her at her funeral that I hadn't known when she was alive. One is that she was a very devout Christian, of an uncomplicated kind. In a country like Britain, where most people aren't religious in any active sense at all, she was, I suppose, what you would call a fundamentalist. That is to say, when my cousin, her son, tried to talk to her about evolution, she was having none of it. So if we had got to discussing religion, we'd have had very little to agree about, except this maybe. She felt she had a perfect right to her views, and it was nobody else's business to tell her otherwise. The day after my aunt's funeral, a woman who worked for British Airways won her appeal against the company, which had banned her from wearing a cross around her neck while on duty. I welcome that decision because, unless there's any risk of harm to anybody else, I think expressions of belief, whether religious or otherwise, are a matter of personal freedom. For the same reason, I'm against moves in several European countries to ban certain forms of Islamic headwear for women, including the veil. There's quite a lot in Islam and in Christianity or Judaism, for that matter, that I find both offensive and wrong, but then I'm equally sure there's a lot that I believe in that would offend many Muslims, Christians and Jews. The state should never tell us what we're allowed to believe, and it should tread very carefully before it tries to regulate how we can express those beliefs. Freedom of expression is not an absolute. No one has a right to scream fire in a crowded room. But it worries me that when it comes to religious beliefs in particular, so many people seem so quick to be offended. My Auntie Betty never wished anybody any harm, and I guess she went to her grave still not believing in evolution. I'm also as certain can be that she was wrong about that, but it only adds to my affection for her memory that she'd have laughed off my objections and asked me if I wanted another cup of tea. This is Lance Price for CBS News in London.